we've had an entire industry propped up that says you can't do this stuff, and its first course of action is to prescribe you chemicals whose names no one can pronounce.
Yeah.
Like if someone told me as a kid that my inattentiveness could be treated with lion's mane and not a methamphetamine that was one carbon atom from being actual methamphetamine, that would have been great because that would have
Yeah.
addressed a lot. And having taken methylphenidate growing up and lion's mane today, they do the same thing, but one doesn't have side effects.
Yeah.
You're listening to the Art and More podcast with your hosts, Nathan and BR. Nathan is a Canadian illustrator with a couple years of military experience, and BR is a British anarchist that moved to the States. Both are passionate shooters and community builders. Together, they run the Seaburn art page. Enjoy the show.
All right, we are back. You are listening to the Art and More podcast. I'm BR, and my co-host Nathan is dying of cholera this week, I think. I don't know, that dude, he's generally pretty healthy, but occasionally something just wipes him out that, like, hasn't killed anyone since the Middle Ages. But anyway, I am joined by a returning guest, Mr. Reaper of Reaper Consultations. Welcome back to the show, man.
Thank you for having me. And I'm sorry our dear friend has unnamed disease number 3.
Yeah, Lord knows. I think he's been, I don't know, consuming Indian again. But, yeah, man, we haven't had you on the show since, I think, episode 107. And this will be episode 222, which is nuts. And I think the last episode we did with you was a super sad one. It was you talking about, overcoming cancer. And, I mean, love that episode, but it was a heavy one.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about it again, but
I think, let's just rehash it, man.
Let's just get depressed. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
But I definitely want to sprinkle a little bit of hopium out there.
We could do with it. I think I brought the mood down a little bit, and the mood in general. The vibes have not been great as of late. So we did like Death in My Family, and then Flock, Doom and Gloom. So, like, we can only go up from here, I think.
Yeah, I had to deal with Flock myself recently here.
Really?
We're working with that. We'll see what happens. I got backstory. I caused a kerfuffle by writing to all the newspapers who were and appealed to their leanings. And I got people in a flurry. 2 ended up missing. The week later, they've since replaced that after about 3 months. So a little backstory on that, like a kick in the hornet's nest. But it's current times kind of feel a little bit like COVID in a way. There's that kind of overcast to it, but
yeah,
I don't think all things are bad. I think there's a lot of good things we're kind of overlooking, and we've got a little bit sucked too much into the black screen of doom.
I very much agree, and something we were just talking about before we started recording is, like, I think a lot of guys who've been doing this for a while, like, perusing the, like, social media and our kind of, like, sphere of, like, preppers and gun people and liberty types and all the rest of it. Like, we've been doing this, most of us, like, 2019, 2018, 2020, maybe, like, around that kind of time period, and it's a lot. It's a long time to be staring into a miserable little black rectangle, seeing, like, death and things are bad, TM, and all the rest of it. And it gets exhausting. And I think I find with pages in our kind of sphere, you get to a point, especially like subject matter expertise and like sharing information as you do, you kind of, it's not that you couldn't keep on posting, but like you can only preach this stuff for so long, and like unless it's a business, which kind of brings it into like a soulless space, like just doing it out of the goodness of your own heart, I don't know, it's tiring, it's taxing, and eventually you've said your piece to as many people as will listen, and you're like, all right, I gotta actually like build in my own life and in real life now, actually practice what I've been preaching.
Exactly. And that's, I think, kind of why I went offline in the fall too. It's just like there is a life to live and things to do.
Yeah.
And I think Op4 talked about this too. It was like, I can just keep rehashing old topics. Redbeard says the same thing. It's like, but it's just going to be a broken record. And, I think it was really a good thing for both health and productivity. And half so there was actually a couple studies, tying into dead internet theory. 42 to 50% of all traffic on LinkedIn is spam from bots. About the same amount is on Facebook and Instagram. And I will presume that's just the case across all social media. So it's like literally half of what you're seeing was either generated by someone using AI or is a literal AI bot page, just
a
doing
soulless
whatever.
entity.
I mean, who knows? Stirring up your anger, posting slop, just gathering views for money. I know a lot of intelligence agencies use lots of them. Other organizations can use them to kind of attempt to stir up certain sentiments. Um, it's just not really conducive to healthy living, I think.
No, it's a good way to kill your brain and everything good you have going on, and just like be like play to someone else's fiddle. You know, if you're
Yeah.
just in the mix of it every day, consuming that stuff and like going off of what you perceive to be actual people when it's soulless entities that are like
Yeah.
just trying to push you one way or the other, like that's not good for you, man.
No, if I told you there was a disease that made people stare at their hands for 4 hours a day, you'd say it's an epidemic.
Yeah.
But to us, it's normal. You just have that black box in your hand staring. It's like, dude, it's not doing anything for you. Go do something real. Like, go meet your neighbors.
Yeah.
Start a garden. Go literally do anything but what you're doing right now, because it's nothing.
Something really it's a little dystopic, but like not the worst trend I've seen. I don't know if you've seen this, like luxury brands are now starting to promote like simple living. Have you seen any of that?
No, so I'll be vague about this. I work in the very high-end luxury space.
Okay.
Simple living. I don't know if I've quite seen that. What I see, at least in my space, is more people looking for like unique experiences.
Hmm.
Kind of getting away from like the typical brands. They want something. So, like, for example, we're dealing with the commodification of luxury right now. So, like Louis Vuitton, Lamborghini, they're all made in giant factories.
Yeah.
Which is where you see like the Bugattis and like the one-off $15 million hypercars, the one-off luxury yachts, or like staying at really unique locations kind of comes in. So that's what I see.
Yeah.
I don't know about simple living.
I've seen like kind of fashion going the way of like showing models like frolicking through like a home garden, like that kind of
Okay.
like aesthetic, like giving the aesthetic of the homestead. And it's like I don't know, it's kind of weird because I know everyone in these like truly they all live in a city, you know, all the models are like absolute urbanites and all the rest of
Yeah,
it, but they
I know
give
what
the
you're saying.
aesthetic of like, oh, I have the money to like have this carefree, like, oh, it's so easy to live on my little hobby farm, you know, like that kind of vibe. And it's like, no, motherfucker, you're covered in like cow shit and like you're cleaning out the chickens and like all the rest of
I
it,
think
you know?
I almost want to say that's like not even like a wealth thing. It's almost like a generational thing, at least from what I see and kind of the people I interact with, not in work, but just in general, of like this getting away from the urban zones, getting away from all the hustle and bustle, and kind of it's kind of the counterculture. It's the punk right now, right?
Yeah.
The punk is to live on the farm, right? It's to have the garden. It's to live a more simple lifestyle. So I think that's probably where that ties into personally. And I'm all for them doing that. Like,
Oh yeah,
by all
like
means, plan to.
culturally, yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It's people who, I mean, I get asked this, at work too. Like, people want to go see like a ranch or something like that. It's like, dog, they're working. Like, you don't want to deal with
Yeah.
you. Like, and like you really want to go see a horse and sneak up behind it and get kicked in the head. You go for that, boy.
Yeah,
Um,
it's I don't know. It's a weird time. I think everyone knows, like even culturally, like it's referenced more and more that we probably should be rejecting this stuff. It is bad
yeah,
for us. But like everyone's got an addiction, or like basically everyone has a serious addiction, and we're all cognizant of it. But it's like, okay, well, what now? And no one really has an answer to that.
yeah, and I think there are well, say there's many paths to the top of a mountain. In some senses, like tying into that certain things, like people realizing like, hey, nothing is sustainable right now. I mean, 72% of the United States population is not in favor of data centers. Like that is a positive stat.
Yep.
People are saying, hey, time out. What's going on here? Um, and at least for me, my kind of theories on this are just like taking, at least in your personal life, kind of a step back technologically in some senses, not with everything, but like owning physical media, physical books. Then Amazon can't take away and say, hey, we sold you this little pad thing 5 years ago, but we just want you to buy a new one, so tough luck. Owning the physical library and stuff you can hand down to kids, other family members, going to like physical DVDs again. I mean, shoot, you go to the dollar store, you can get like a dozen of them.
Yeah.
Like the Habitat for Humanity and stuff. It's like no one can take that away. It's there. Um, that's at least how I approach things. It's kind of starting to regress a little bit. And it's just like I own it. Like deal with it.
It's
At this point, I think within 3 years, you'll honestly see me have like a Nokia type phone or flip phone. I don't. Maybe Spotify is the only thing I kind of need on there in an email, but that's
yeah.
it.
It's been such a temptation for so long, and unfortunately, like it's the nature of so many people's lives. Like my job, kind of being in a marketing kind of role, it locks me into having all of the heroin esque
Yeah.
digital commodities on a device in my pocket that's 2 feet away from me all day, and it's horrible.
Yeah.
I'm
No, I agree.
I know so many marketing types that have the same feeling as well. It's a very odd time. People are like, I hate this thing, but it's
Well,
I'm doing it.
what's kind of interesting now? When we were growing up, to be able to know how to use the internet and the computers and all that was like the cool thing. Like
Yeah,
you had the Xbox and like OG Call of Duty 2, Call of Duty 3, like you were the guy. But now, and I noticed this in my life too, is like you're the guy who could read a book and like log off and not be on the internet. Like you're the cool guy.
yeah,
You got hobbies, you got things you do. Because I hate to break it, but watching Friends every Friday is not a hobby.
no. And
Um,
it fortunately, like it seems culturally it's swinging back to as well, where women are like excited about a guy that doesn't have social media. It
yeah,
used to be like, oh, what a creep, and now it's like, oh, thank God.
yeah, right. And I'll say this: I'm a big proponent of the theory that we're in not just a K-shaped economy, but a K-shaped society right now. So, for those who don't know, a K-shape basically you have like a bell curve graph or a reverse bell curve graph. A cave shape says we have two data sets that are doing completely opposite things. So
Mm,
we basically split the graph and do one line going down, one line going up in separate directions. And that's where I kind of see things happening, where there are certain subsets of the population who are just doubling down, door dashing everything,
yeah,
Amazoning everything. They're betting all their money every weekend, sports ball 24/7. And then there are people who are literally just their foot's out the door. Maybe they're not quite there yet, but they are starting to turn the ship around. It's
yeah.
not going to be fast, but I definitely see that happening more and more. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's like so unprecedented that I do worry what will be the end result of that, because like it could go. We see it with both like the class side of things, which I feel like Americans they're getting more cognizant of. Like Europeans, like everything is class. Like, oh, where did you come from in society, and like, do you have any kind of mobility? Usually not. Whereas here, like, people are very mobile between classes, at
Yeah.
least as a culture. But like,
It,
I'm so curious if that trend, because the theory of the people who are doubling down is like, oh, if I just like I have four AI businesses and I'm just like printing money through adopting this technology, like I will be part of the superior class that has adopted all of this, and everyone who is rejecting it will be subservient in this like new kind of economy that's emerging. And it's like, oof, that is a bet. And maybe you're right. Maybe there'll be enough rejection, or like the economics of you know like just running these data centers and all of the resources needed. Like if that bubble pops, like you guys are gonna be, yeah,
good luck.
yeah, like we'll eat you, and like we will not be merciful. I think it's kind of the way it's trending
And
because of
you
how
have the
that's.
other side of that group that's just the consumer slob, too,
Mhm.
and just totally bought in. It's and then everyone else is like, hey, I want to take care of my health. I want to take care of my kids' health. I don't like the way things are going. I'm going to live a different life.
Yeah.
Um, tying into the economics of it too. I'm wondering, with like FIFA and everything here, right? And I think about, like where you grew up and how Europeans are. Our media is bad, but over in Europe, it's all basically state media,
Oh yeah.
but not, but it is.
They
And
they
they
have
come over
like the
here and
big
see
window
this.
dressing. Yeah.
What happens when Europeans find out how poor they are? Because they are not that wealthy, really, at
No.
least compared to us.
Oh
Not
hell
to
no, dude.
demean them, but just quite frankly, like we have unimaginable. And I know things are really tough here. I feel it every freaking day. My grocery bill's 4xed, and it's just like, but they deal with. I mean, they have like $8 gallon gasoline when you do the math.
Yep.
I think it's even higher now, but like I don't know what I do with $8 gallon gasoline. I couldn't
Dude,
go anywhere.
it's weird because like for all of our troubles and pain, I then talk to like friends and family back home, and I mean right now with the heat wave thing going on, like it's good for memes, but it's kind of crazy. Like every year, like thousands or tens of thousands of Europeans die for like no real reason from the heat. Um
Yeah. It,
Meanwhile, like I was being passed around my grandparents' living room on a phone, talking to like all sorts of family the other day, and the three different times they bring up the heat, and they just can't stop talking about it. Meanwhile, I show them my AC's just blasting. I'm like, it's actually a bit chilly in here. I've got the door open so the cats can wander in and out. I'm like,
but
yeah, it's
I
not that
I
bad.
seriously wonder because like you also think here, unless you're like in New York City, every house has a washer dryer for the most part,
Oh
or you
yeah,
buy one and get it installed. I didn't realize that like that's not really a thing there. in,
yeah. I'd say
in a lot of places,
yeah.
at least comparatively.
Oh
And
yeah,
it's just
yeah.
like, again, going back to the question, what happens when they go back and say like, "Hey guys, these people have a lot of money that we're supposed to be like comparable to, but we don't have."
I don't know because like it has been really funny watching the discourse of them going like, "Oh wow, like I've just been told America's such a bad place, and they have it so bad, and blah blah blah." And then yeah, like seeing just the standards of living and what Americans take for granted, while like feeling like they are suffering. It's like, oh no, you guys like genuinely are peasants with Netflix. Like that
Yeah,
sucks, dude. Like that is rough. Yeah, not it's not even a brag because like where I'm at in life, it's comfortable. I think I've elevated since I've been in the US. But like I talk to people who were, doing the same degree as me, at like same job, basically all the same opportunities as I had. I just moved to a different country, moved to the US, whereas they stayed in the UK. And like it's wild where we're both at in life just with afforded opportunities. Like they're like, dude, I will never own a home. I'm like, man, like people even like a couple of years older than me, like people with like decently well off families, and like, nah, man, it's just I'm gonna be renting the rest of my life, like,
Yeah,
and
I couldn't imagine, but
no,
it's. I think it'll open their eyes to quite a bit of things and start the conversation of them asking the question of like, "Hey, we're told this, but here's the reality." So I think that'll be. We'll wait to see what happens with that. It'll be interesting for sure.
yeah, I would love for Europeans to like take existence by the balls and like demand their own destiny, but
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if they have it in them. I don't know if the timeline is in their favor with how much erosion they've allowed. Um, the same could be said of us in some ways, but like they are decently ahead of us in terms of
yeah.
like you know how much erosion has happened in their society. So I don't know. I would love to be optimistic for the Europeans, but they have a very very tough time ahead of them to make any kind of you know hopeful future. I would say like it's not going to be like doom and gloom and necessarily like apocalyptic situations for them, but like it's they are going to have to work to create any kind of gilded age.
And I think that gets lost on a lot of people, and that just goes for us too. Is like you're gonna have to suffer a little to make things better. Like this isn't. You're not a boomer. Like this isn't. You didn't just get society handed to you. Like
Yeah,
every generation had to suffer a little bit, had to sacrifice and work to build something better. Like that is how it works, and it's never been perfect. Like even the Gilded Age. I mean, there was like child labor,
yeah,
like, and it was really bad. People losing their arms at work and machinery. Like, it wasn't glorious, but it led to like now we have a new generation coming in a similar fashion to us, kind of coming in and say like, hey, time out, guys. Like, this is not working. It's not even like the Russian communist revolutionary, we need to kill everyone and just start over. It's just like, hey, we need to alter course. Like this is clearly unsustainable. um you know Getting into the doom and gloom, and I guess we can circle back to kind of the hopium. It's just like we look at like farming. We're having dust bowls now. Our food
yeah,
has 20% of the nutrition it did in the 60s. um we have everyone in your life has some type of mental or physical issue, right? The autism rates, like this and that. But then I look and it's like, I mean, I just like, obviously I got into gardening like a lot, but all my neighbors are too. And everyone is starting to look to say, hey, how can we produce our own food? I'm also seeing, like the Maha movement, and we could critique it, but it's now mainstream to say like, hey, we need to address our children's health. It's not normal for all these kids that are 5 and 10 years old to have all these issues. That we're kind of in the middle of the awareness stage.
yeah,
You look at how many health brands are coming out left and right, and obviously you see like the PepsiCos and the Kellogg's buying these companies out
yep,
and altering their ingredients. But the nice thing is you have so many entering the market to where you can just say, hey, I'm done with you, off to the next guy, no big deal, and keep on rolling, um, which is really neat. You know Taking control of your own food supply. I mean, these are becoming normal things. It's not weird to do anymore. It's not
no,
weird to be concerned about seed oils or microplastics. Like, there's all these brands coming out to address this. And sure, we might be in a slightly chaotic time where maybe people are trying to sell a little bit of snake oil, but like it's becoming normal to like say, hey, I make these choices. I have a water filter in my house. I don't have plastic cutting boards. Like, no one would look at you weird anymore saying that. They'd be like, oh, I might not do that, but I get it.
yeah. 10, 15 years ago, you might get a like, oh, why are you bothering? Like,
Yeah.
it's really not that bad for you. Like all that kind of attitude. Now it's like, instead it would be, oh, I should look into that. Can you like
And
tell me how you did
yeah,
that?
that is exactly my experience now. People are like, oh, hey, that's a good idea. Let me do
Yep.
that. Where'd you get that from? I was the crazy guy who made medicinals at my church. and now people are asking me to like make my pain rub in a like. They're like, "Oh, did you harvest this yet? Because I would like some more of your pain rub." I'm like, "Oh gosh, I haven't even gotten around to harvesting my comfrey yet, but
Yeah.
sure." And it's like it's normal. It's not weird anymore. People don't look at you odd because they feel it too. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not normal for you to be groggy and depressed and sick all the time. And
I
people
th-
are looking for a way out.
Yeah, that is the major source of hopium of this time is like we have identified the problem. We are able to talk about it freely without it being a discussion about like how crazy you are. It's oh well, how serious is this problem and like where should I prioritize it in things I'm trying to improve about my
Yeah,
life.
I mean, I was
Um
at, and then I guess another one too is like regenerative agriculture. So
mm,
regenerative meaning, so we've had industrial agriculture for like the last 100 years or so. Regenerative is really saying, hey, I want to make this soil healthier and better through natural processes every year.
yep.
I'm seeing labels for this on more and more products everywhere. The meat company I buy from now details how they use regenerative practices. And it's kind of like the recce gun of like food and agriculture now. But like there is something to be taken like, yeah, that is a positive, like people are looking for that now. People are saying, hey, the way we've always done things doesn't work anymore. You can't have a society that only takes, you have to give back. Not in some kind of like socialist fashion, but like you do have to have a certain amount of benevolence to you to give to the next generation.
Yeah, we kind of hit the roller coaster like tippy top of decadence and then went,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay, I can't have all of this without consequences." And now it's
Yeah.
like, "Okay, well, we humans need to learn how to live with their environment once again." And
Yeah.
like you can call me some granola hippie and I am to a degree, but like end of the day we haven't conquered our environment, and when we do
No.
conquer it, like we kill it and then we kill ourselves.
And I think Joel Salatin, he's a very
what a
famous
what a
farmer
king.
guy, talks about this, but I've mentioned this as well, at least within the Christian sphere, is like our entire viewpoint is that we were made stewards of this entire place.
Yep.
Like you have dominion over it, but dominion also includes stewardship. Dominion over your household, the material items, the earth, your finances. Like you're supposed to steward it. So to see like 100 years of just squandering wealth and freedom and the environment and just destroying everything, it's like, where the heck did we get this idea from? I don't,
Yeah, it's quite a new one, and I mean, it's really born of like the worst, and people, it's a whole debate of like, okay, what exactly is capitalism and all of that, but it's like the worst parts of crony capitalism, where it's like,
yeah,
oh well, I don't really care about how people suffer because of like what I've done to the environment. I just know that this is going to make the shareholders happy, and consequences be damned. Like this works for me right now. I don't live in the community. It's fine to just dump water, like poisoned water, back into the ground and all the rest of it,
yeah.
or
I
whatever it
mean,
might be.
it's just kind of the default human nature. Like that's who we are. Like we're not really that great,
Kind of
morally. It's
assholes.
like, yeah, we're not super great in regards to that. And it's like, you do have to think in terms of that stewardship. Like, how am I setting everything, right? The finances, the environment. Like, how am I setting this up better for the next generation? That's what a builder does.
Yeah,
And that's how you get from like greatest generation to like boomer. Like that's where that dichotomy comes
yeah.
in.
Let me
It's
just
just
take and take and take and take, and there's no
exactly
consequences.
like if, and here's an example to think of, like if I only spent every dime of my paycheck every time, by the time I get old, I'm gonna have nothing to like take care of myself through retirement unless I'm gonna work till I die. I'm not gonna have anything for emergencies. That's just not proper. Like you have to set aside a little bit to keep the system going. Um, yeah, it's just odd. But I think there's a lot of good things happening there. It's people are again just realizing this can't continue.
Yeah,
Um,
and honestly, like, thank goodness a generation at large, like uh, boomers are they're really catching it, and they
Yeah.
do deserve it because it's like, it's not to say that there aren't any builders amongst the boomers, but like by and large, like where did you leave your children?
Yeah. And I think they're at the point in life now, as they start to enter kind of the dying phase, where I'm sure it'll be a K-shaped curve too, of like, oh yeah, we really screwed up, or you'll have others, because I do notice that there is going to be a massive wealth transfer from them to our generations. And I've already kind of seen that in some other families as well, but there are going to be some obviously who just say like, screw it, Jackie Chan to his kids type. I'm
Yeah,
not giving you a
yeah.
dime, which is really odd to me. Like, I can understand you'd want your kids to work and have that ethic, and maybe you say like, hey, by the time you're 40, you can get this. Like,
Yep.
I get that. But that's also a parenting thing too. Like, you should raise your kids to do that, and to not leave something for them just seems odd to me. But like, you know, I guess opting out too, like, this whole mentality is like why I got into the gardening and like medicinals too. This is like looking at my former doctors, like, dude, you can't just keep trying to write me scripts. This isn't fixing the issue.
Yeah.
Like,
Like you're creating brand new issues while covering, like, you are doing a landlord special over my current ailments. Like,
exactly.
you're barely a doctor. You're a drug dealer.
Exactly. And there's tons of great doctors out there,
Absolutely.
no doubt. But it, when you go and you see commercials and it's a drug that's dealing with a side effect from a drug that's supposed to be dealing with a side effect. So you're in like drug inception. You have to stop and think, like, at what point am I just like a cow for money for these people? Um, and I'm not saying, getting into the medicinals as I kind of learned, like, bro, this isn't going to cure your acute like leukemia like I
Yeah.
had, but like, you can at least set yourself up to deal with common ailments, common, pain, common colds, um, different things like that. It's been really interesting to see that, of like, again, the super granola people who say, it'll cure your brain cancer. Like, I'm sorry, it's not going to do that. But
I wish. Not
for your
quite.
chronic issues, they solve a lot.
Yeah.
This statement is not endorsed by the FDA.
Thank God.
Consult your doctor before you start anything. But like, when I was like learning about all this stuff, I'm like, where is this? Like,
Yeah.
why isn't this talked about more? I could just grow this flower in my yard. And for example, my favorite medicinal is American skullcap, native to America. It's a nice little flower. It's a nervine, so it helps tame down your nerves, helps a little bit with pain, helps you go to sleep. That's quite a bit. And that helped like my spine issues, because I got absolutely broken neck, slip discs,
Good
whole
stuff.
9 yards. And it's like, where was this? You mean I don't have to use like opium or like, down a whole bottle of Advil every week?
Well, we can't sell you that plant, and when
Yeah.
you Google natural ailments, it doesn't do great on SEO, unfortunately.
Yeah, the
The
weird thing of not
companies
being
want you to
able to
see.
patent naturally occurring plants is really odd.
Yeah. It's a problem.
We got to think about the shareholders.
Yes, they will be very disappointed should this plant become popular. But no, it's such a weird society. Like, I'm glad that people are opting out, and it's something that I've kind of like here and there talked about for years. Is like, just naturally, I think with the information age, as long as we don't enter like the like authoritarian suppressed information age, which, you can't stop the signal. I think it's going to be impossible to fully enter that, but it might become more of a thing we have to seek this stuff out. We're going to enter this era of like parallel economies, and it's already happening.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
you can break it down any number of ways.
I see it every day. I mean, like, the idea of where we go to a supermarket to buy meat, which, by the way, we have no idea where that meat came from, because you can't and don't have to label where it comes from.
Yeah.
Which it probably didn't come from your state or even your country. It probably came from Brazil or
Yep.
Uruguay. Fun fact, and it could be mixed in with other cows. Um, and behind that meat, you have six intermediaries as part of the process between you and the rancher. And now, how? I mean, again, let's just use my congregation as an example. I want to say about 2/3 buy their meat directly from the rancher.
Love that.
Buyer, rancher. The only intermediary you'd have would be the butcher. You've have your supply chain. It's cheaper. Meat, at least for me, was like $6.80 a pound, and that's T-bone steaks, roasts. I mean, a roast at Costco is like $60, and I got it for the equivalent of like 12.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's gonna be fresher.
like those types of things. How many more people are seeking out like CSA market gardens, or the raw milk, um, just looking kind of to buy differently. um, you know I mentioned like the buying the DVDs. Other people are buying, like us buying records and record players isn't that odd, really. Not saying you have to carry that around, but those kinds of just seeking the alternative
Yep.
within the system, whether that's even the gray or white market. um, I mean, shoot, how many people do I know that sell sourdough bread in a cottage bakery?
Yep.
Like, that's awesome. And to make a loaf of bread at home, sourdough costs you probably in the realm of $2 to $3 without a flour miller. You can't get Wonder Bread for $3.
Yeah.
And I think, as much as inflation has sucked, I think it is forcing, the old industrial pharmaceutical, just the giant conglomerated state plus corporate business model is really going out the door, because they're pricing themselves out of doing it the hard way again.
I'm here for it.
I'm totally for it.
Like your system is built on such shaky, unnecessary components that
Yeah,
as people realize that, opt out and find the simpler way of doing things, the more like human, natural way of doing things. Like
yeah,
this rickety whatever it is, like it's gonna collapse.
yeah. It's just a leviathan. It's not really state. It's not really corporate. It's not really this or that. It doesn't have political leanings. It's just kind of this, amalgamation of a monster that
Yeah.
just only cares about green line going up.
Yep.
The food industry is really similar to the drug industry when you think about it, like the cocaine industry, because your incentive is to cut the product with a worse product. um oh, well, we want to make more money in the cocaine, so let's just add horse dewormer to it.
Hmm.
Like, lovely. Red dye 40, great. We're gonna add corn syrup to everything. It's just like,
That's good. That's
it's the
cheap.
same way. um it it's just, and people are done with it.
I was talking about this. I think with Buckles like a couple of episodes back, but it's like, what is their incentive to keep you healthy? Like,
Oh, there is zero incentive in the medical industry to keep you healthy.
yeah,
There is none. And I think this goes kind of back to the food thing, because it's based on what you buy. I think there's really two ways this goes with like the big food industries. A, they're going to keep buying these companies that are healthy, and people are going to keep leaving, and they're eventually going to run out of money and kind of fade into irrelevance. Or two, where everyone wins, is they actually have to adapt to an informed consumer that is really diligent and really on the ball. And I think we've kind of lost that. We've just, in some sense, yes, we were a high trust society and we trust people to have a good interest, right? At the same time, we kind of got lazy with that and just presumed everyone had our best interest, despite not knowing who's behind there, not looking at the incentives, etc. So I think being an informed consumer is really going to play into our benefit. And that's going to require a little bit of extra work. Yes, a little bit of extra effort. It's going to require a little bit of inconvenience. Oh my gosh, what are we going to do? I'm not going to eat out at the restaurant because all they do is just order from Cisco, and it's just garbage.
yeah. It's
Like,
it's like you said about the K-shaped economy. Like it's gonna be interesting as we watch the like religiously uninformed, like people who are, it's not a conscious choice, but like they are so allergic to putting in the effort, and like
Yeah.
it's just never going to be part of their lives.
It's
And
going to pay to hustle
yeah,
in a different manner, not like what we saw in previous generations. You're going to work yourself to death, but just a little bit in life. Just have a little bit of grit and hustle. I think it's going to definitely pay off because you can pay for your health now and your mental well being and your freedom now, or you could pay for it later.
yeah.
And later is
When you
going to
have less
involve
agency and less
it's going to
capability.
involve zero agency. It's going to be gold chains, gold shackles. It's going to be awful. But you know, I mean, tying into that, here's a fun fact for you. Guess how much food, produce specifically, was produced in victory gardens in the United States during World War II?
Oh, it's something ludicrous. You're gonna have the actual number, but I don't know. Throw it out there, like 60%.
About 45% of all produce.
Nice. That's beautiful.
Today, I want to say it's about 0.1%, but it
Oh,
is
I'm
increasing to about, I think it's like double or tripled, which is just interesting. It's people now taking, like, hey, yeah, my yard shouldn't be a French monarchist kind of wet dream. Like,
absolutely
it should
not.
be actually be productive, like it had to be since humans have had homes. Like, my land should be productive. It should produce for myself.
Yeah,
Obviously, no one's saying everyone has to have a cow and a wheat field, but I think we're a little past that. But it you have to take control of your security. Like, I mean, how many times do I see now, at least in my space, like the number of church attacks that are stopped and you'll never hear it on the news is like insane. Um, we've had so many less mass shootings because they're just getting shot.
yeah,
It's literally that simple. Eli Dickens, I mean, the monster got away with a few, but like dude got domed 10 rounds at 40 yards. And we just start seeing more and more of that because people are like, yeah, I am responsible for myself. I need agency. Um, and as dark as some of this stuff is, and as dark as kind of the opposition is, it's like you're reclaiming your humanity. It's
yeah,
humanity's raw. It's messy. It's not this clean cut, manicured lawn of a life. It's going to be accidents and mistakes, but it's okay.
yeah. It is choosing to be human over choosing to be cattle, and some people like that cattle life suits them. It makes me sad, and it's something we were discussing before we hopped on here. Like in the I don't want to call it the golden days of our social media time, but when everyone's very active and like super engaged and like everyone's just putting out guides and information and sharing and great times and stuff. But like it gets to a point where you're like, I'm not gonna try and like debate you on why you should be doing this stuff. Like
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I do care, but I'm not gonna kill myself to convince you to like live a healthier, more secure, more free life. Like you can want that, or best of luck to you. I put it right in front of you, and it's what it is, man.
And I had trouble with that. It's like, well, you need to debate me and explain this. It's like, no, I don't, dude. I have a life. I don't even know you.
I
Like,
don't care.
I'm not going to tell you. I had one guy trying to debate me on like his revolutionary, authoritarian, communist ideas. Dude,
Oh,
I'm
man.
not doing that. I'm not wasting my time. Like, I
I
don't
don't
even
care,
know
man.
you. You could be a robot for all I know. Like, I don't care. I like go do something with your life.
Yeah.
And I think trying to tell people that, oh, bro, what gun are you using during the war, bro? It's like, dude, you can keep sitting in here and wet dreaming about all this stuff, but you're not even doing thing in your active life right now. Like, this isn't a 0 or 100 game. Like, real life is happening. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Um,
Your closet
and
of photo op props, like they're not gonna do anything for you today, tomorrow, next week, or the month after, dude.
yeah, it Oh, you saying I shouldn't have night vision? No, I am. I'm just saying stop wet dreaming over it. Like,
It's a tool. I
I mean,
I don't I don't get excited about the hammer or the sawzall or anything in my garage like that. They're all tools.
I mean, I mentioned this before we started, but it's like my most likely scenario is stopping a mass shooter at my church
Yep.
or a guy with a knife. That is my most likely scenario I have to deal with on a weekly basis, which involves a things went really bad on my hands on, or B using a pistol. Like that is not a wet dream. That is not pretty.
No.
But it doesn't involve, level 4 plates, a helmet, thermals, and all this. Like it's not glamorous. And that's just kind of how life is sometimes. When we talk about, we're talking about the surveillance stuff, like, dude, it's not waiting till things happen. You actually have to do stuff today, and it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be connected. Like, I wrote to the new local newspapers. They wrote scalding articles on Flock. Like,
you
if
made
you,
the local flock infrastructures and like the people trying to implement its life harder, and you should.
yeah,
And it didn't require a single 9mm round, a single like endangerment to
yeah.
you or your way of life.
And maybe nothing happens. Maybe you guys are right. Maybe nothing will happen writing to my representative. You're probably right. But unless you say that you did, uh, can you really look at the next generation and say, well, I did everything I could?
Yeah.
Because that's what the boomers do. Like, it's just doing nothing. Do something. Like, write to someone. Go, like, gosh, propaganda is so easy.
Yes, it is.
The following comments will not be endorsed as they are highly illegal. So this is just analysis. But certain people will make like stickers, like eggshell stickers, on widely available applications found on the internet. And they will put those around town. Other people will get creative with things like graffiti stencils, and they will use that around town. Unless you're willing to spread a message about things, actually willing to do some amount of footwork in your real life, like stop complaining and stop wet dreaming. Because like you're not doing anything today. You're not gonna like get up when things get really bad and just start doing something.
Yeah.
You weren't doing anything when it
Today's
was
the day
easy.
to start. Yeah.
Like
That's a great point right there. Just the dimmer switch of like how easy this stuff is right now. Like you have
just do it.
Yeah.
Just do something. And the only wrong answer is to do nothing. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you've said like, well, I'll start growing food when it gets bad. Bro, I will tell you right now, your soil will take about 3 years to become good. And you will, yeah, it's going to take 2 seasons to learn how to do all this. That is too late. Like, you
Yeah.
need to be doing stuff today. That's like saying, hey, when, the next Summer of Love happens, I'll learn how to use a gun. Bro, that train left the station a year before that event. Like,
Oh yeah. Oh my god. When I had family members and friends reaching out like, "Hey man, like you've got a gun I can borrow, right?" I'm like, "Dude, I offered
Nope.
so much. So much. Like when times were good and easy, like, no man, sorry. Best of luck."
it's just odd that, like, you'll wet dream in your head and fantasize and all these things, but like you're not doing stuff today. Like, you could participate in society. Like, for me, a lot of that's going to be church, but like there are clubs, there are organizations. Like, go be a part of it, go meet people, go understand who's in your community. Oh, well, they're not like me. Well, too bad, that's life.
Yeah, you're gonna have to like. I was talking about this, I think in the flock episode, with our friend Brendan. Like, a lot of us have that crazy, like, super aggro libertarian, like prepper dude in our head or whatever. But like, you can put him in a box and just be like the good, upstanding citizen that like compartmentalizes a little bit and have some self awareness when you're talking to other people, like how you're going to be perceived and how you're going to be able to influence people. If you come to them with like wearing the costume of the crazy like end of days
Yeah.
dude, that like a lot of us are in truth, like bring that back from an 11 to about a 4.
This is propaganda 101. You have to write to your audience.
Yes.
And some guys cannot get over that. They're like, my values are my values. I'm like, dude, the people I'm writing to are so diametrically opposed to me in so many fronts, but we have common ground on this.
And they have a
Like
platform that I need.
it, you have to get just a dash of Machiavellian about it. Like, you have what I need. Here's how I'm going to get that. I said, because they were writing, and this will kind of reveal some things, but like they were writing some anti-ICE articles. And I
Yeah.
wrote to them saying, hey, do you know that these are used by that agency for this purpose? And they go,
Yep.
these are here? I go, yes, they're everywhere. Here are the locations. You're welcome.
That's beautiful. And
It,
exactly right. Like what these factions, these entities already exist here. They are determined. They already have capability, like whether it's their platform or whatever it might be. Like why not just nudge them towards the thing that you want?
yeah. And I didn't write to the ones that were like really big metro areas that were kind of proponents of it. I skipped over them. It, I didn't see it worth as much of the time to people who had already demonstrated a tendency that could be capitalized on.
Yeah.
Uh, and again, it's like it's just an email. If they don't read it, whatever. Like, what are they? Are they going to come to my house and hang me? Because we're not. This isn't North Korea yet. You had the right to free speech. Use it.
Yeah. It's I'm getting back to talk about the garden and stuff, like learning the garden when food starts getting scarce. Like right now, if we plant something and it dies because we messed something up, me and my wife, like, it's a sad little chuckle. We're like, oh damn,
Oh
like,
well, I learned a lesson.
yeah.
Like,
But
glad it wasn't catastrophic, and I'm going to starve now. Like,
yeah, picture the same thing like 3 years into resource wars and food shortages, and we're like, the like the cabbages, that none of them are good. Like,
yeah.
we will be weeping.
And like, here's what I mean. Because we can talk about like the dust storms and like how the farmland is completely degenerated. But like, a famine doesn't mean there's no food.
Yeah.
It means there's not enough, or in certain cases, maybe it's too expensive. Um, and that's kind of where it's like, hey, you could supplement. Like, you don't have to produce everything because no one can do that.
Yeah.
Um, unless you're going to have like 5 cows in your yard, like 2 dozen chickens, and like 8 pigs. It's just not feasible.
No.
But like, you grow something. You grow maybe turnips, potatoes, tomatoes, and just take a little bit of the bite out. Squash is prolific. You grow like 4 of those and throw it in a deep freezer. Like, cool, you're set, man. But if you don't do anything, like, we can't help you.
Yeah. Don't be the I'll just come to your house guy.
No, it's I have a or it's order of love. You have the responsibility to take care of like yourself, your family, and your direct loved ones versus like, hey, this guy failed to prepare. I mean, I'll try to help you, but like,
It's this guy I
also
really
gotta
like
worry
from
about
work. Ooh.
a fed stray cat brings back friends. So like,
Yeah.
are you gonna come? Are you gonna bring others because I fed you once? Medicinals are the same way. If you don't have a lot of space, medicinals are super easy. And the really cool thing is, a lot of the ones you'll probably use are native to the US. So they don't need much attention. They don't need much love. Echinacea is probably the most prolific, native to the US. Black-eyed Susans. Some people pronounce this differently, but anise or anise hyssop, which is neither an anise nor a hyssop. That American skullcap, like, those are all native flowers. They don't need much love. Like, you can't really mess it up, and they do a lot of good for you. And it's like, oh, hey, here's one ailment I have that I don't need to go to a pharmaceutical for, or at least provides a barrier before I need to.
Well, and talk about, say times get particularly dire, or even in good times, like how valuable are medicinals? You're already talking about like people asking for these things from you during good times when they can rock up to their local pharmacy and get any prescription drug. These people are asking for this stuff now. It's already valuable. Like, think about when that stuff's not in supply.
You think of like a comfrey rub, right? That I make. If I mix in, so the comfrey's from England and Europe. It's called the bone knitter is the nickname because it has a healing properties to it, especially binding skin, cuts, helps with pain through its alanins. Um, when you mix in other things with that, like oregano, which is a really strong antibiotic, this statement is not supported by the FDA, or other native flowers, especially the American ones, really potent antibiotics. Um, you think of like, if I don't have Neosporin, like I can help treat these wounds. It might not be perfect, but like in my experience, works really well. I lost a couple fingernails and they were starting to get really infected. I just put that on, numbs it, heals it. Same with like burns and burn blisters. Like it's just amazing. It's
Yeah.
like, why don't people talk about this more? Anise hyssop helps cough. So does oregano. If you can handle oregano oil, very potent. Echinacea and elderberry, again, both native to the U.S. Very strong antibiotic and immune boosting properties to it. Chamomile helps you sleep. Also does some other things with like styes in the eye. Because a small infection can turn into life or death
Oh yeah.
very quickly. Um, and that's something I could throw in like a pack if I have to go out and about. Like stuff I could travel with, and I could it's the do it all everything. Um, back pain, neck pain hurt. Not being able to sleep really sucks, but you could treat it with stuff like valerian or skullcap, American skullcap. And it's just really interesting that you could start helping with these things. Like willow bark and aspen bark can both be used because they have aspirin in it. Like stuff around the world. And again, it's not saying it's perfect, but I'd rather have an item that can treat 50% of the problem with none of the side effects. That also I have in my yard and can just make. It's just easy. It's just a really cool ability. It's like that is another kind of agency. It's like I don't have to be dependent on these guys to make drugs in China, ship them over here, and well, now Trump and Xi are battling it out in Taiwan, and we can't get anything. It's like that would really suck to not be able to take care of just basic problems. Obviously, none of this is going to fix a broken bone or like, hey, my spleen just burst. But for chronic problems, it's like you can at least take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Because like in a situation like that, if a doctor has to prescribe antibiotics, they're going to give it to the person who's like immunocompromised or really dying, and not like, hey, I'm having a really tough time.
But all right, well, keep toughing it out, bud.
Yeah.
I believe in you.
And then also like these things, if you're taking them routinely, can not supported by the FDA, can keep you healthy and prevent that illness or problem from happening in the first place. Which is what I'll talk to Nate about.
Yeah. That's a whole nother thing. Is preventative, kind of getting on the topic more of not only treating ailments, but from your own garden. Is there anything that you grow and like take regularly as kind of like a preventative treatment?
So I recently mixed anise hyssop with some American skullcap tincture, and I'll take usually a little bit of that every day. That'll just help kind of the nerves through the spine, help with the immune system too, especially the anise. As the echinacea and black-eyed Susans grow this year, I am going to have way more than I know what to do with. I will make a tincture out of that, and I'll use that kind of as a daily. And I have used that, and that'll generally keep me healthy. I also have a friend of ours has a company, and they do an adaptogenic tincture that has like reishi mushrooms. So adaptogens basically help you deal with stress. They could do some other things too. Like this one will helps with my inflammation. It kind of helps with, in regards to the stress and the inflammation, helps prevent illness like sickness and whatnot. And I've used those. I'll also drink teas. I typically get those from the store, and I buy the best I can, like unbleached tea bags. And that'll generally, I find when I'm consistently doing all that, you're like building up immunity. It's not like a one and done thing. It's like you're long-term building up immunity. And I find that does a very good job. personally. I tried some teas last year. I definitely need to get better at tea making because it wasn't the most wonderfully tasty experience. So working on
Definitely
that,
medicine rather than a tea.
it was definitely medicinal for sure. But I will mix stuff like that in every once in a while, especially if people around me are getting sick or anything. And I've noticed since doing that, even if I do get sick with a compromised immune system, it's much shorter, much better duration. The only exception was like one bout of something last year that just knocked me on my butt. I had to go to the doctor for, but for the most part, it's not like a getting sick every week or every month thing now. It's like maybe twice a year,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
even maybe three times, but I barely notice like the third, which has been really neat. And you think about it, going back to like the 40% nutrition from 1960, not even baseline. Like we're so nutrient deficient, our bodies are just struggling. And some of these herbs will help kind of reinfuse that back into us. Same with like gardening and having good soil. You'll start getting the nutrition back. And I think that's what I'm focused on. In regards to the teas too, I'm growing what's called the New Jersey tea. It was used as an alternative to English tea during the Revolution,
Based.
non-caffeinated. I'm going to try that as kind of like a base, um, with some other things as well. Typically with a tea, at least what I mean, you can use fresh leaves if it's during the season. Typically, I'll dry them though and get an infuser in, and then do that. But I think like at least for consumption, due to how medicinally tasting certain things are, the tincture is just easier. It's easier to just take a dried plant that's been sitting in Everclear and then just down the hatch, a couple drops or half a milliliter, than drinking 4 cups of tea a day.
Yeah, yeah.
But I do like the tea, like chamomile, even just basic like Earl Grey or green tea. I find really good, personally. But the tinctures are my other one, and then there's also like people say this two different ways: salves or salves.
I've
Um,
heard both a lot.
yeah, I think that depends where you grew up in the U.S.
Probably, yeah.
Um, and I'll make that out of comfrey, different oils like olive oil, beeswax, and then whatever I have at the time, like oregano, bee balm, any of the other plants I stated previously. Lemon balm is really good. I find that helps with the muscles quite a bit, and mix that in. And you basically just let that infuse for 4 to 6 weeks in a dark place, and then you'll strain it, mix it in with the beeswax, so you get the consistency you want, and then put it in tins. You're good to go. The tinctures are easy. Usually, it's 2 to 4 weeks sitting in. I believe it's 50% or stronger alcohol. Some people like glycerin. I like to just stick with plain, unscented, unflavored, clear liquor.
Mm.
Um, and those are usually the three types of things I'm using. Some of the other things to do, like essential oils, are really difficult because you'll need a distiller, or a similar type of equipment, and you'll just need a lot of equipment. Like to make a vial of lavender oil, you'll need like 4 pounds of lavender flowers. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've made I use it in like a spray, but I basically made like a lavender tincture. I was like, it basically does the same thing. There's some things like essence, which if you look how to make it is like really granola and really weird. Um, Giving the spark notes TLDR, it's basically like setting some distilled water next to the thing you want to get the essence. It's really bizarre.
Ah,
No interest there.
witchy
Uh,
stuff.
yeah, just kind of odd, but I find that the salves, the tinctures, and the teas are like the easiest thing to do. You can also, for things like styes or certain other things, you could take like the chamomile and like other herbs that you want to mix in. I used like a cheesecloth bag because that's what I had. Uh, Kind of made a tea with it, kind of squeeze the bag, and then use that as kind of an application. Those are really what I find most useful personally, because they kind of hit everything you need.
Yeah.
Um, And I think kind of the interesting thing that learning all this is not looking at plant like active ingredients like we would with pharmaceuticals, because that's not how they work. Their biggest benefit is restoring nutrition to the body in ways that allow your body's natural processes to function.
Mm.
Um, so, like going to nutrition, and this will tie into the gardens of medicine. When we think nutrition, right, we think so in such a confined manner, right? We think calories, we think carbohydrates. If we're really into it, vitamin A, B, C, D, K, etc. But like we are dealing with thousands of micronutrients. We have no idea. We haven't even scratched the surface on what they do. And all these plants, grown in the right way, have these that restore kind of the body's natural processes. So things like nervines help your nerves cool. So if you're like really stressed out, this brings you from an 11 down to like a 7, helps you kind of ease back into your seat. If you're struggling to sleep, kind of helps you. It's not like Benadryl or melatonin where it's like lights out. It's
Oh my
like
god.
you kind of just slide into the sleep. You can deal with astringents, which when we're talking about taste, there's astringent taste, but we're talking in the medicinal context, which really helps your tissue move fluids in and out properly. Um, you could deal with like alternatives, which help you detox and your body kind of go through the natural processes. Um, Things like that. Diaphoretics, which helps your body cool and heat properly, sweat properly. We're just kind of helping the body ease and do what it needs to do. Now, it doesn't mean plants are perfect, that they don't have like certain side effects. For example, if you take feverfew, which helps you with fevers, it can induce contractions in women with babies. It doesn't mean
Mm.
that it's not like there's not like a toxic level to it, or there's not like it's just hunky dory, everything's perfect. Um, some people don't believe you should consume comfrey internally because it could hurt your liver. I don't know. Maybe it's possible. I haven't seen any actual studies on it. Um, Same with like certain things like kava, which is technically a nervine. Kava kava, you might have heard of it. Um, Hits these same nerve receptors as most opium does, so it's pretty strong painkiller. You got to be
Yeah.
careful with it. It is mildly addictive.
Hmm.
Can be hard on the liver. So you do actually have to kind of like do just some general research into the plant, but it's we've had an entire industry propped up that says you can't do this stuff, and its first course of action is to prescribe you chemicals whose names no one can pronounce.
Yeah.
Um, like if someone told me as a kid that my inattentiveness could be treated with lion's mane and not a methamphetamine that was one carbon atom from being actual methamphetamine, that would have been great because that would have
Yeah.
addressed a lot. And having taken methylphenidate growing up and lion's mane today, they do the same thing, but one doesn't have side effects.
Yeah. What a
It's
world.
just and again, I'm not saying it's perfect or that you don't need to be careful, because you do need to have your head on straight, but there's some really cool things you could do and kind of treat. So, and again, you can grow it all in your yard, or like if you don't have a yard but a small like apartment balcony, the medicinal stuff is usually pretty small and you generally don't need a ton of it. My only caveat and warning is usually don't harvest more than a third of the plant, because you can kill it if you harvest too much than that, which I learned last year. Comfrey is a little different. Comfrey grows like a weed. You'll never kill it. But pretty much everything else, like harvest about a third of the plant. Yeah, it's definitely a rabbit hole I'm still going down, but at least kind of the surface levels has been just very interesting that there's all these different things you can kind of treat in different ways.
No, I love it. What a I don't want to say a transition, but like what a interesting new path from like all of your, and not to say that's not still a part of you and what you're interested in, of course, like the long range shooting and propaganda and all the rest of it. And I do love the all natural vibes that people have, like kind of found their way towards the return to what we are meant to be doing, in my opinion. But
Yeah, and like again, if there's something acute and you got to move up, like by all means. But like for us to not address lifestyle and diet, then medicinals as the first two lines of defense,
I don't
just
want to
it's really
change
bizarre
me.
when you step back. Like you know, how many people? I mean, oh my God, we joked as kids like they're gonna come up with a pill that doesn't make you fat, and now that
Oh,
it's like the number one selling drug in America,
yeah.
and we're gonna. I mean, there's horrendous side effects with it, but that's besides the point, you know. And it's like this is a diet and exercise issue.
No, I don't want
Like,
to change me at all. I don't want to work for it. I just want a pill. Oh, lo and behold, they came up with one. They heard.
yep, yep, and just forever shackled to, the stockholders, I suppose.
Yeah. Um,
Um,
Something I wanted to ask for like people who I'm almost certainly are listening in on this and going like, yeah, I want to pursue this stuff. Like, what was how did your journey into this stuff start? Like, have you been into this for like a long time, or like what's all that look like for you?
I think that's a tough question. I think it's like always been there, but not like a per se. There are some natural tendencies with it of like you know me, like kind of the countercultural, like let's step back, ask questions.
Yeah,
But in a sense, like it wasn't something I grew up with. Obviously, it's something I all had to learn. Every, I mean, most every part of me. Um, and I think there's just definitely the cancer thing. I think really was like the final straw, and just being done with the bit, big pharmaceutical, big medical,
yeah,
um, and just that was kind of the catalyst. And more, as I've gotten my own, kind of property, it's like, oh hey, I can do whatever I want with this now, and that just like door swung wide open. Is like I could just grow food or whatever that I want, and no one can tell me no. I mean, maybe someone could, but like, you know what I mean? Like, um, and it wasn't a natural tendency. It's like I don't even know where to start and just start learning. A good book for at least the medicinal stuff was Herbal Medicine Maker Handbook. That's nice. I also have the Green Pharmacy. Green Pharmacy is more of like a reference guide. Urban Herbal Medicine Maker's Handbook is a nice like, hey, we're gonna start you off. Here's how to make things. Um, learning the gardening stuff, which is going to be a lifelong process, as I've figured out. Um, it's a journey. Like I don't think I'm scared of like it being perceived as arduous or like the scared of failure, because you can't be scared of failure because you're going to fail. Like that's just going to happen. You just have to make it not catastrophic, not lethal, not like not anything like dangerous, but like it's better to make mistakes now while they're cheap, because next year there's going to be inflation on it, and then next year there's going to be inflation on it. So like you might as well make your mistakes now.
yeah.
Um, like I got a little giddy because it was a really warm winter and planted everything a little earlier than I should have before our last frost date, and everything died.
Ah,
So that was a couple months of starting seedlings that just went out the window, and lesson learned.
yeah, yeah.
Um, it killed the medicinal plants by harvesting too much. Like there's mistakes. It's just don't make it financially ruinous. Just keep keep up the pressure to keep 1% growing. It and kind of just doing what I did with everything else, just trying to learn and hear from people, um, and discern from like different schools of thought. But it's been a fun journey, I think. Um, and just I think there's a certain amount of pride too with it, like just like you being able to take care of yourself or any loved ones through defense. There's a certain pride of saying, hey, I've learned this skill, no one really held my hand through it, I like just did it. And the gardening and the medicinal is kind of the same way. As like I learned this, like this is mine, I gotta not gloat about it, but it's kind of neat.
No, it's
And now I get to be a leverage for all of my neighbors, family, um, church member. Like I get to be that guy who gets to teach people now. It's kind of cool. It's like, oh, it just takes one person willing to make a little bit of a change and, put a little bit of effort in and a slight amount of autism.
God bless. It goes so far. I
But yeah, and to answer your question in short, I think it was the cancer definitely kicked that all off.
Yeah, I mean, I figured it would probably be something tying into that. I mean, I have no experience of this, but it's got to be a hell of a thing going through chemotherapy and just having like things that your body knows like shouldn't be in you and all of that crazy
Yeah,
stuff and the feelings
yeah.
of that. Um,
Well, and you have chronic issues for the rest of your life, which I deal with literally every day, and it's just like it does make you go a little crazy, and you're like, you will do anything to make it stop, and I
yeah.
mean anything. Um, like listening to the nuttiest people on the internet. Um, Obviously dialing it back from there, but like there are certain things it's just like that it forces you to like you're either going to fully buy into the system K-shaped curve, or you're going to say I'm opting out, I'm done, give me anything else. um and I think that's where I went in my path. And there's obviously there's side effects I'm gonna have to deal with the rest of my life, but I think this has definitely helped alleviate a lot of that.
Oh, and not cause brand new ones by
Yeah,
pumping yet more chemicals that are recommended to you and wearing out other organs and like, oh hey, like we're gonna recommend a surgery next. Oh great.
yeah. I got one body and it's absolutely thrashed. I'm not even, not even a halfway through my life, and it's like you got to take care of this,
Yeah,
like that, and that goes that's stewardship again. Like take care of your body. Like YOLO doesn't mean go do meth. Like
yeah.
you only live once. Like
Our camera guy the other day in our group chat said he's talking about using your body. He's like, use it or lose it, man. It's like, yep, that is it. Um, so many people are willing to let themselves just like degrade, and I was feeling it myself. Like last few weeks being in mourning and just sitting on the couch, and I what will happen to me during times like this is I'll just get off the couch and go and do something. I ended up hiking down this gorge with a buddy and doing like an overnight backpacking trip, and I was like, man, that was not as easy as it should have been coming back
yeah,
up. Like you feel the degradation so quickly when you're not looking after yourself.
yeah.
Like 3 weeks of moping around on the couch, and I was like, oh, I feel like I'm like in my 50s. That is not okay.
No, it's not, and we have an obligation to really take care of ourselves. Like you, I mean, in so many different ways. Like one, you're a steward of your body. Two, you're an example for the next few generations that are coming behind you,
Yep.
and previous generations have forgotten that. It's like just like being a big brother or like the older kid at school. Like you're the example. Act like it. Like you want the world to change. Show them what it should look like. No, don't just talk about it. Live that life.
Yeah.
Um, Not to beat a dead horse, but like if I'm in charge of security at my church and I'm out of shape, I'm a 300-pound guy, I don't dry fire, I don't like do any, dude, I am failing people
Oh yeah.
because there
Well,
are people who are saying, I am trusting you to take care of this. And you're saying, I don't have the willpower to even take up that mantle. It's just odd.
yeah.
Like,
Well, and people like you see all the time. Like they'll someone that doesn't know better will look at that 300-pound out of shape dude and go, "That is a protector." Like how can they know
it's
better?
just weird to me.
That's the example
Like,
given to them.
it, I mean, we see this in military and police circles too. It's
Yep.
like, well, I got the gun, it's a badge of honor. It's
Yeah.
like, dude, you should be like, I'm not saying you should be sweating blood or like stressing out every day. I know those jobs can be stressful in certain contexts, but like, that is an obligation. Like, you should
Yeah.
be looking to be like the example. Like, because it's the difference between like the cop, and my feelings on LEO, but like the cop who responded to that Tennessee school shooting and just like rushed in there and just did his thing, versus like I mean, I see these guys. I can't tell you how many body cam videos I've seen of like a guy draw like hostage situation, literal hostage situation with a child, but like not even close, like full A zone exposed, and they shoot the kid.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you carry like, and this goes for like us too. Like, if you're gonna carry your gun with a professional mindset, like you need to own that,
Yeah,
just like
100%.
you own your body. Like, this is a serious world. There are no restarts.
No. Yeah, people don't appreciate that. We live in times that so many people appreciate the aesthetic of the thing,
Yeah,
and I'll say for myself, I've definitely been guilty of this in the past. Like when I didn't know better, having like you achieve the aesthetic of a certain kind of preparedness or capability without
yeah.
having the skill or the knowledge behind it. It's like, yeah, man, like it looks like you know that you can do that, but like,
I I
can
think
you?
that goes for a lot of things right now. Like I see that in religious circles. I see that in like the whole like we talked about like the trad movement before.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, there are like good things with it, but like a lot of people just want to look the part.
Oh my god,
You know,
I
as you said, like the city dweller who hasn't touched grass in 5 years, but wants to look like trad wife,
yep.
in her apron, frolicking through the flower fields. It's like I get that it is a desirable aesthetic, but like there's nothing to back it up. It's just social media. Um,
I think
like yeah,
yeah, it's like one of the bigger dangers of our time is like you were saying earlier, there's such a good push for like, make America healthy again. Like hell fucking yeah. I don't love where it's at from a administration perspective or like what they've like the truth of the matter behind the people, you know,
yeah,
like who put a TM behind that movement or whatever. But like ultimately, hey, that's a great cultural shift from like the
yeah,
president hanging out with Ronald McDonald. Like
yeah.
wait.
I totally agree. And it's like well, I don't like this guy. It's like cool. I don't either. But at least there's now lip service towards it, and like the elephant in the room has to be addressed, which is a nice step in the right direction. And
Yeah,
you don't get
like
lazy with it. You don't just say the problem's taken care of. You keep pushing and taking an inch. But hey, we're now addressing this, right? The pesticide provision in the farm bill, I'd have to double check. I believe it was taken out.
hmm,
Double check me on that. But I believe it because there's just a push. People are really mad about this kind of stuff.
yeah,
Pesticide liability shields, um, things like that. So it is nice.
yeah,
SCOTUS handed down two really good rulings recently and just took up two assault weapons bans. Like, there's some good things happening.
yeah. It's
It's just don't get complacent.
yes,
You can take the win.
always.
Don't get complacent.
It's it is really just navigating that line of like, okay, there is an aesthetic of wins. There is like it appears that we are getting what we want, and then you gotta like
Yeah,
you gotta go and verify. You gotta make sure that you're actually getting what you're asking for.
yeah, yeah.
And
Trust but
so
verify.
and yeah, and so often like the farm bill, like you'll see they gave the aesthetic of doing what
Yeah,
the people wanted, and then you read into it, you're like, oh,
yeah,
like so you're still doing evil stuff with like a nice name on it, and people
yeah.
check them, and like there's wins and losses, but like when people actually check them and like adhere to the things, make sure it's not just an aesthetic.
And this is a really interesting thing, and it will never sit right with pretty much anyone because it's kind of a hard truth we all have to sit with. But in many a sense, at least within the theology of Christendom in relation to government, but government is a reflection and mirror of the people and their
Absolutely.
will. They go, well, they're raping people, they're doing this, they're just like, yeah. Do you see anyone protesting?
Yeah.
It's because they're okay with it. Like deep down, people don't really care.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a really hard truth. And it's not that people are like pro pedophile or
no,
anything. It's that they are too comfortable to like become horribly uncomfortable to do
yes,
anything about it. And
and they just mirror
that
that.
yeah,
Like,
that's a it's damning of all of us, and like sure, like not a single one of us can stand up and make that change, but like
Certainly.
it's it's something we do have to come to terms with and acknowledge is like, yeah, the government, they are what we allow them to be, and
Yeah.
they're tyrants. There
And
are
you
many
are
many
what you
evils.
allow
Yeah,
in many senses.
yeah,
Like, if you go to like a elementary school example, like you're okay with the bully in the schoolyard because you don't say anything about it, except when he's not there.
yeah.
Like we all have to look at ourselves in the mirror and go like, wow, I got some work to do. Like it's not an easy truth to deal with. Um, and the only time where you actually see the separation between like actual people's will and like actual government will leads to like 1776 style things. Is like, hey, we want this, we've voiced this, the mass wants this, and they say no.
Like, all
Um,
right, well, we're gonna make it our way.
we'll kick it off. But most of the time, like they will reflect that. I mean, it's just like a corporation, right? They're gonna sell what you want to buy. And
Yeah.
the reason Kellogg sells Kellogg's is because people buy it. Like, it's a hard truth. You've seen the
John
people.
Harvey Kellogg, you evil
It's
bastard.
been 0 days since we've mentioned John Harvey Kellogg.
It's actually been a minute. I appreciate the revival, and now I am angry. Well,
But
hell, man.
yeah, I mean, social media is the same way. Like, you're okay with it collecting your data, you're still on it.
Yeah.
You don't need it, you're still on it.
We can all opt out. We know it's trash. We know it's digital heroin.
And it's been refreshing to be off, and talk to people.
Absolutely.
It's like I literally had that like, dude, did you hear about? And it's like, no,
Not at all.
we invaded Iran and kidnapped a Venezuelan president, I guess, but my life's still the same. Gas went up.
Yeah, truly, yeah. There's like, sure, there are like economic impacts from all of this crazy stuff, but when you dip out of the headlines just for a little bit, like I was completely out of the loop, and then someone's like, "Hey, did you hear?" And I'm like, "What?"
No.
Hit me. Like, our military's merging with Israel. I'm like,
what's new?
Yeah. Like, are you just hearing about this? No. It's like a Congress. I don't care, man.
You're like, yeah, militaries do that, I guess.
I'm so unshocked. I'm just gonna keep on living my life, man. I wasn't gonna stand on my soapbox and tell them off and make sure it didn't happen, man. Like,
it was like the Venezuela thing. They're like, oh, he kidnapped him. Like, we shouldn't have done it, but like, I guess the guy was kind of like a Saddam Hussein or something. I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on it.
Was the raid at least cool?
Yeah, it was like, anyway, you want to hear about turnips?
Yeah, I have so much to tell you about turnips.
It's just like living a real life. Oh gosh,
no,
I think the deacon training I went through was like great because like it forced me to do that, and it was like, wow, like there's real life. There's like actually things going on, and like the birds are chirping and the sun's out. So I guess it's not that bad.
I cannot overstate this enough. Like, a simple life that you love and that has like positive impact on your loved ones and your community. Like, I could never see another news story the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Just those warm connections and like building things with and for people you care about. Like, what a magical world we live in.
There are people you can make connections with, and that your lack of presence will make them feel sad. And it's this thing called friendship, and it's really cool. And people
it's
should
this new
try
trend
it out
I'm
more.
getting into.
We're friend maxing.
Beautiful. I mean, hell, man. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to get into before we get out of here, but that seems like a pretty beautiful spot to kind of trail off from.
I mean, yeah, it's just go read a book, go learn something. It's just
Is that the dad advice?
Life's not that bad. I mean, things are tough, but like, no one's dropped a bomb on any of our houses. So, like, I think we should be pretty grateful for that, all considering. At the same time, not to get complacent and like, there's work to be put in today.
Yeah. It's it starts with taking agency over your own life and your household and building from there and doing the good things that we all know we're capable of to make our little corner of the world a better place. Like none of us are going to stand on a soapbox and change the world today, but like over time, leading by example, doing the good things, that's how the world changes.
It really is. It's not a few people doing a lot. It's a lot of people doing a little.
Yep,
And
absolutely.
again, if a few people grow a garden, reduces the food burden on the system. A few people carry a gun, we're now a little safer. A few people take care of your health, it's a little less burden on the system. Like it, it's not these, it's not giant leaps. It's small, consistent steps.
Yeah, that's it sounds so corny, but that is truly like the revolutionary stuff. And it starts with all of those things that all of us are capable of doing.
Yeah, it's having changing your outlook from a week to 10 years will really do something for a man.
Yeah. Well, man, I think that's a really beautiful spot to end it. I do have to hit you with the obligatory like look into the glowing eyes of our little brothers and sisters out there listening, and give them some dad advice, man.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Right after all of that.
That was a whole advice episode, right? I'd really say just get involved some way. Like, you need to be plugged in to the world around you, and not be the tin foil hat guy who just sits in his house. Like, get plugged in, get to know people, uh, get a local newspaper, know what's going on, plug into a church, a club, an organization. Like, do something where people recognize your face and spread some words of kindness. There is way too much negativity that comes out of people's mouths who pretend like they're nice in person, and I see what you guys say,
Yeah.
and it's disgusting. Like, give some uplifting support to some brothers, right? Like, tell people they're doing a good job. Tell them you appreciate them. Tell them you hope they have a good day. Like, that will mean the world to someone. And leave just your small little bit of an imprint of a better world.
Beautiful. There we go. It's gang, it's a great time of year to be getting out there and doing positive things. It's summer and it's Independence Day. I'm gonna be getting out there and mixing with the boomers and hopefully some young people at like my little rural Appalachian town's Independence Day thing. They're gonna think I speak funny, and that's fine. And we're gonna I'm gonna have my wife translate water for me, so I can stay hydrated. But yeah, gonna talk to some locals and hopefully make some new connections and get a little bit more embedded out here. So all good things.
We'd love to see it. I mean, it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful weekend and time to celebrate despite everything.
Yeah. Hey, end of the day, like America is not its government; it's the people, it's the land, and it's the ideal. And even in these weird times, we're still pushing for what a bunch of European peasants and their immediate descendants were going for in the first place. So, and that's a beautiful thing. All right. Well, on all of that love and positivity, let's get out of here. Thank you guys for listening. Hope you're all doing well out there. Have a safe and free Independence Day. Don't blow any fingers off. You're probably already this will probably be coming out July 5th, so you might already be missing fingers. In which case, sorry I didn't warn you before. Yeah. Anywho, much love. Thank you, Reaper. Once again, we'll link those books that you mentioned in the description, And yeah, hopefully we see more people getting into taking more agency over their health and all the rest of it.
We hope to see it.
All right. Well, once again, thank you guys for listening, and until next time, okay, bye.